The E46 BMW M3 has always been one of my favorite cars. It's nimble, it looks fantastic, and it's super engaging to drive. So what happens if you have $140,000 to create the world's best M3? Well, you get this. Stick around to the end of the video because there's some features of this M3 that I guarantee you've never seen before on any other BMW. Vorsteiner completely overhauled this car from the ground up while simultaneously adding some of the coolest mods I've ever seen on any BMW. Under the gorgeous carbon fiber hood of this E46 lies a 3.2-liter inline-six that in stock form makes 333 horsepower and revs to 8,000 RPM. Now, this has a gorgeous Evolve CSL-style carbon fiber intake, as well as a Super Sprint exhaust, Super Sprint headers, meaning horsepower comes out to 380. And while typically E46 M3s sound a bit like weed whackers, the Evolve setup with the Super Sprint actually sounds incredible. Vorsteiner has given this car a variety of carbon fiber aftermarket parts, dropping the total curb weight by 200 pounds. We have this gorgeous vented carbon fiber hood. We also have a fully carbon fiber front bumper with some design elements from modern day BMWs. You notice there's these little rivets here like the M2 Comp. We also have a dual CSL style intake that's actually mimicked based on the 3.0 CSL concept car. One of the E46 M3's most iconic design elements are these vents on the fenders. Now, in the stock E46 M3, only the driver's side vent is actually functional. We've got an ECU right here, so it extracts hot air from the ECU. The passenger side just sits there and looks cool. Vorsteiner's given this billet aluminum custom vents that are honestly, in my opinion, a must-do mod for this car. If you have an E46 and you don't want to go crazy with spending, get these because it modernizes the look of the car. We also have 3-piece Vorsteiner 19-inch wheels, as well as Brembo brakes for better stopping power. Around back, we've got a Vorsteiner CSL-style carbon fiber trunk, as well as a custom carbon fiber rear diffuser, and those brilliant Super Sprint exhaust tips. Let's head inside because things get even crazier in the interior. This interior is as good as it can possibly get for an E46 M3. From the carbon fiber trim to the Alcantara to the integrated multimedia system to the carbon fiber door cards, it feels like a time capsule. I feel like I'm back in 2000 or 2003. Unbelievable. Let's take it out on the road and see what it's like to drive. Behind the wheel of the Vorsteiner E46 M3 now. And the first thing you notice is that it actually sounds good. The E46 M3 is kind of known for its raspy exhaust note, but with the Super Sprint headers and exhaust, as well as that Evolve carbon airbox, you've got this addicting induction noise, and you don't have that classic rasp that you get with E46s with the wrong exhaust setup. And this thing sounds mean. The second thing you notice is the fact that it has a SMG gearbox, which for the time was cutting-edge technology. It's basically a manual transmission with a robot shifting for you. But in today's day and age, compared to something like a dual clutch, it feels really, really slow. But the good news is, Vorsteiner has done a CSL tuning on the SMG gearbox. The CSL was the ultimate version of the E46 M3, only available in Europe. And with this tuning, it actually makes the transmission a lot better than you'd expect. Now at full throttle, with that CSL tune, the SMG gearbox does shift pretty fast. Although, if you're really good at a manual transmission, you might actually be able to beat the shift times of the SMG. But it's a massive improvement from the standard tuning. At lower speeds, when you're just kind of partially on throttle, it does feel extraordinarily slow. But there is a trick. Like a manual transmission vehicle, if you're accelerating slowly, you let off the gas, shift, and then get back on the gas again, it shifts a lot more smoothly. Otherwise, it kind of has this sway to it that just feels like nothing other than an old single clutch transmission. The cool part is, because the SMG is basically a robotic manual, you can do a manual swap very easily. And I imagine if Peter could go back in time, he probably would have bought this car with a manual transmission. The other cool part about the SMG, though, is that it has a secret shift mode. So right here by the SMG shifter is a little toggle for different shift settings. You can basically increase and decrease the intensity and quickness of the shifts with the toggle. And there's 5 settings. But if you click the DSC button, then you can actually activate a secret 6th setting, which we're gonna go into right now, and it shifts even faster. Now we've got Öhlins road and track springs. This thing rides so well and has 0 body roll. It's really confidence inspiring in the turns. The suspension is firm. It gives you plenty of feedback, what's going on underneath you. I will say, I like the square setup that a lot of people do on E46 M3. So they have wider front tires that makes the steering feel a little bit heavier. In this setup, it kind of feels a little too light. It still gives you nice communication. The wheel itself feels fantastic with the CSL Alcantara, but I do wish there was a little bit more weight to the steering. Now we've got these aftermarket carbon fiber paddles that make the SMG gearbox feel more accessible. You've got a larger paddle so you can grip it more easily around turns. They are mounted to the steering wheel itself, not the column, so if you're in a sharp turn, you can still shift. You're not really supposed to be shifting while you're making sharp turns, but in a certain scenario, it might be practical. Visibility is fantastic. It's such a nimble and easy car to drive fast, and it begs you to push it harder and harder. It's not that fast of a car, honestly. Stock, the performance was good back in 2000, but nowadays we're so used to faster and faster cars that the 333 horsepower that it came with stock feels relatively underwhelming. Now this does have 380 horsepower and it's 200 pounds lighter, but still in 3rd gear, it's such a tall gear that it doesn't feel like it pulls super, super hard. We've got Brembo upgraded brakes that stop the car very well. You've got to apply a significant amount of brake pressure actually to start the vehicle slowing down. But once you do, man, it's got kind of race car-esque brake feel to it. Not quite that firm, but similar. I honestly love this car. We've got the Gunther Works Series 2 seats in it. They use carbon fiber shell technology like the McLaren Senna, so they're actually hollow inside of the seats to save weight, which is very, very cool. And I love the fact that they've got the M colors to make you feel like you're not in a Gunther Works, you're in an E46 M3. But it has to be the most badass seats ever put in an M3 ever. I mean, bar none. I asked Peter, can you buy these seats? How much do they cost? And he jokingly said, well, they're free. You just have to order at Gunther Works. So, yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to buy these. But I imagine they'd be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, which would be pretty crazy to put in an E46 M3 that you can buy from between 10 to 30 grand, depending upon mileage. But man, if you've got an open checkbook, this is the perfect E46 M3 in my opinion. The Mystic Blue looks fantastic. All of the Vorsteiner upgrades for that V20 package, the 20th anniversary of Vorsteiner. You can buy everything else on this car. The Evolve airbox is awesome as well. If you've got an E46, I highly recommend getting that. The Super Sprint exhaust too. I think it's an incredible setup. It's expensive, but you're getting what you pay for. It doesn't feel like, man, how could you spend 140 grand on this M3? Where did all the money go? No, it feels like a $140,000 M3. Everything in the interior is absolutely mint. Everything in the interior is absolutely mint. The fit and finish is ridiculous. Carbon fiber everywhere, Alcantara everywhere. Man, this thing just puts such a smile on my face. The little chirp. Man, this thing is so well balanced and so fun to drive. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. If you got a BMW or a European car, or really any car, make sure to check out Vorsteiner. They make carbon fiber parts. They make awesome, awesome stuff, not just for this car, but many others as well. Also, incredible wheels. All right, guys, see you next video.